Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's me. Welcome to my channel. And today we take a look at some of the most hilarious villains from Tom and Jerry. Now, while Tom and Jerry is largely known for its slapstick between the titular cat and mouse, there have been a few occasions where they get outside help in the form of, well, not exactly friends, but allies. Some of these allies are more dim-witted than others and even sometimes cause more trouble than they worth. But nevertheless, we still love M. So let's take a look at some of the most hilarious villains from Tom and Jerry. Let's start off with one of the most iconic examples. Butch the Bulldog, making his debut in 1940's The Cat Concerto. Butch is easily one of the most famous and frequent rivals of Tom. At first glance, Butch looks like just another tough guy who picks on those weaker than him, which, to be fair, he totally is. But there is something about Butch that makes him so endearing despite how much of a jerk he can be. Maybe it's his occasional catchphrase, "Don't get smart with me, pal." Or maybe it's the fact that he occasionally teams up with Tom to take out bigger threats. Whatever the case, Butch is definitely a fan favorite, even if he doesn't always make the smartest decisions. Like when he tried to frame Tom for destroying a vase in solid ivory. Good thing Tom outsmarted him and got him arrested instead. But perhaps his most iconic moment comes in the midnight snack, where he sneaks into the house to steal some food, only to find Tom waiting for him in the kitchen. The two get into a fight, which ends with Butch getting a massive fright when he thinks he sees Jerry's ghost. Yeah. This is definitely one of the funniest scenes in the series, and it's almost entirely played for laughs. There is no real reason for Butch to believe he is seeing a ghost besides Tom's insistence that he is, and it leads to some great gags. Butch even runs into a wall because he's so scared. In the end, he finds out that it was all a trick, but not before suffering through a nightmare sequence that has him attending his own funeral. Definitely one of Butch's best moments and one of the funniest scenes in the series. Next up is Spike the Bulldog, another dog, I know. But trust me, Spike is very different from Butch. First appearing in 1942's Feline Follies. Spike is an extremely lazy dog who would rather nap than do anything else, which causes problems when he ends up in the same house as Tom. Usually, when Tom tries to do something nefarious to Jerry, Spike gets in the way, though usually not intentionally. Spike can be pretty grumpy when he's woken up, but he's not malicious. He's just lazy and doesn't like being disturbed. This often puts him at odds with Tom, though, who frequently wakes him up while trying to chase Jerry. Spike is actually one of the few recurring characters in the series who isn't an anthropomorph. He's almost entirely motivated by his desire to sleep, though there are a few instances where he shows a bit more intelligence than usual, like in Dognap in Time, where he manages to trap Tom inside his doghouse by flipping it over. Despite his low intelligence, he can be pretty resourceful, like in The Zoot Cat, where he uses a nearby garden hose to spray water on Tom when he tries to sneak into the house. He even teams up with Tom in a couple cartoons, realizing that a common enemy can be worth more than just chasing each other around. But in the end, his desire to sleep always wins out. And yeah, Spike is one of the best canine sidekicks in animation history. Moving away from dogs, we have one of the strangest and most unhinged recurring villains in the series, the musician. Wait, what? Yeah, the musician is one of the weirdest characters in the Tom and Jerry canon. A small, short-tempered man in a striped shirt and a hat. The musician's main claim to fame is that he plays a tiny violin and is terrible at his job. He debuted in the 1943 short The Lonesome Tune, where he tries to drown out his loneliness by playing sad music on his violin, which angers everyone around him. This causes him to go on a rampage, which ends with him accidentally electrocuting himself and getting arrested. Yup, you heard that right. The musician is actually a recurring villain simply because he's too lonely and plays sad music. That's literally his motivation. Since then, the musician has gone on to appear in several shorts, usually causing mayhem wherever he goes and never seeming to learn from his mistakes. His temper is insanely quick, which often gets him into trouble. And while he may not be the most threatening villain, he's certainly one of the strangest. Next up, we have one of the most iconic duos in the series, the cat and mouse. That's right, another duo. But hear me out, guys. While the cat and mouse aren't quite as prominent as they once were, they're still notable enough to warrant their own spot on this list. The cat and mouse first appeared in 1940s, The Two Mouseketeers, where they terrorized the countryside by stealing food and tormenting the local animals. They're basically a biker gang, except they're mice, and they're in the 1940s. What? And they're not even that intimidating, honestly. Sure, they can be a bit mean, but they're really more comedic relief than anything else. They're pretty dim-witted and often get into trouble because of it. Like in the Zoot Cat, they try to scare Spike away by pretending to be ghosts, only to get zapped by a nearby radio tower. They also team up with Tom on a few occasions, most notably in Solid Ivory, where they have to set aside their differences to stop a bulldog from destroying the house. Honestly, the cat and mouse are a lot like Butch, in that they're kind of jerks, but they're not malicious. They're just annoying and cause trouble because they don't think things through. Still, that doesn't excuse their behavior in Mouse Cleaning Day, where they force Tom to clean up after them and call him a janitor. Yeah, even Tom has his limits. Thankfully, they didn't show up too often after the 40s, but they're still memorable nonetheless. Finally, we have one of the most recent recurring villains in the series, Uncle Pecos. First appearing in Blast from the Past, Uncle Pecos is a rich old man who lives in a mansion with his nephew and niece. He's grumpy and somewhat cruel, but mostly just wants to enjoy his retirement. Unfortunately, he has a knack for attracting danger, whether it's attracting the attention of jewel thieves or unleashing dangerous creatures into his house. Yeah, this guy definitely has some bad luck. While he doesn't seem to actively seek out trouble, he definitely has a knack for finding it. Like in Fast and Furious, he adopts a pet monkey who wreaks havoc around the house until Tom takes care of him. Or in Cats in the Bag, he accidentally unleashes a skunk into the house and promptly forgets about it until Tom finds it. Yeah, this guy is definitely not good at having pets. And it seems like he just can't catch a break. But hey, at least he has a good sense of humor about it. When his prized racehorse is stolen in horseplay, he just shrugs and says, "Well, that's that." There's just something about Uncle Pecos that makes him so endearing. Even when he yells at Jerry for using his typewriter or locks Tom in the basement to keep him away from his granddaughters. I don't know what it is, but this character just feels like he's destined to have wacky adventures. So, who do you think is the most hilarious villain from Tom and Jerry? Is it the musician, the cat and mouse? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like this video, be sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel for more cartoon content. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching.